Hi, it's Claire and welcome to Needle Say More. Today I'm going to show you how to make an easy tote bag. So I've measured one of my existing tote bags. It's my favourite one in terms of its size. So it's 50 centimetres wide and it's 40 centimetres high. So including the hem at the top of the bag, it is 43 centimetres on each size. So the fabric I'm using is 1/2 metre, so 50 centimetres of the Rifle Paper Co. cotton. So the width is totally fine. I'm just going to need to trim it on the height. So you can see at the top here, I'm going to have either a little bit left on the top of each one, or I could cut from the selvage edge down 86 centimetres, so 43 plus 43, and then I'd leave myself a much bigger piece at the end, which I can use for another project. So I'm going to mark 86 centimetres with a bit of tailor's chalk, and then I'm going to snip and tear this all the way across, and this will give me a 50 by 86 centimetre piece. So to start the tote bag, I'm going to fold it right sides facing along the short edge. So the first step to create the tote bag is to put the fabric right side facing, so fold it in half, put the two edges together at the top so they're lined up, the sides should be lined up, and you're going to place several sewing clips down either side, and we're going to sew these together to create a seam. Once the two sides have been clipped together, you're going to sew these together on your sewing machine using a normal straight stitch, a 1.5 centimetre seam allowance, and it's really important that you back stitch, reverse stitch at either end of the seam to reinforce. So you're going to sew down either side of the bag where you put the sewing clips before, and this is going to create the sides of the bag. And once you've completed this stage, you'll see it will start to take shape. At this stage, you can see that the bag is starting to take shape. So we've got a seam on either side of the bag. At this stage, you could even turn it the other way around and have a little look. So it's almost like a little pouch at the moment. And just double check if you have reinforced it, that you have caught the fabric all the way down the sides and there's no of the calico poking out. So to reinforce the seam and to neaten it, you can either zigzag stitch on your sewing machine and just zigzag across this raw edge to protect it. Or if you have an overlocker, you can overlock these edges to reinforce them. So this will just neaten them and prevent fraying, and it will extend the longevity of your bag. This technique should have nicely finished off both sides of your bag. Our next step is to create the boxy corners to give extra storage in the bag. So what you're going to do is you're going to pull out the front and back of the bag and create a triangle at the bottom of the seam. So if you pull the front and back out and then try and create a triangle at the bottom, and you will see it starts to create this boxy shape. Then you want to make sure the fabric is as flat and as smooth as possible, and you're going to put a series of pins across this to hold it really nice and flat, and you can already see it starting to take that boxy shape. You then want to get a friction pen or tailor's chalk and a ruler, and you're going to line up the middle line of the ruler with the seam that you've just sewn in the last step, to make sure that this boxy shape is going to be sewn at a 90-degree angle to the seam so that it doesn't look wonky, it looks really nice. You're going to repeat this on the other side, and then the line that you're creating now, this 90-degree angle line to the side seam, should be the same distance on either side. I'm using a ruler's width just for ease. You're going to follow sewing along this line to create the boxy shape. So on your sewing machine, depending on your machine, you may have to line this line up with a gap on the foot. This might be to the left, it might be the centre, and you're going to sew all the way along this line and you're going to backstitch at either end. Once it's been sewn together, just double check that it's nice and straight and that you're happy with the 3D shape that's starting to take place. Then you can turn it around and have a look from the outside, make sure there's no tucks, it looks really smooth and even. So you can see our bag is starting to take shape. The next step is to hem the top of the bag to create a really neat edge at the top. So ordinarily, I would recommend using a ruler to do this, but because this fabric has got the really nice selvage edge that says that it's been screen printed in Japan, I want to retain this. So I'm going to, by eye, fold it over by 1 centimetre all the way around, and then fold it over by 2 centimetres to create a double folded hem. And I'm going to do this so it follows along the line of the selvage edge to really highlight the fabric. So ordinarily I would turn it inside out and use a ruler to do this, but it's nice to add personal touches when you make something yourself. The hem has now been pressed over by a centimetre and then pressed over again at 2 centimetres approximately. So before I start doing the hem of the bag, I wanted to add my little handmade label that I put on everything. So I put my pink slow fashion label inside the bag. So to get it central, what I normally do is from the side seams, fold the fabric in half and then create a little crease, and then I know that my label is going to be exactly in the centre, and there's a little line in the centre of the label, so I always line this up. So I'm going to do a couple of straight stitches, sew in reverse to get the label attached to the bag. I'm having to sew it upside down into the bag so that when the hem is sewn it'll be the right way round. And I find it easier to take the arm off the machine when I'm hemming the bag, just so that I can move the bag round in a consistent loop. So you're going to start and finish in the same place. So preferably you don't want this right in the middle of your bag. You want it on the side seams because it'll be less visible. Once you get back to where you started, reverse stitch and trim off any loose threads. Check that the hem is really neat and even all the way around and you haven't got any tucks. And then you're going to be going to add on the straps using webbing. I measured out the straps to be the same length as my existing tote, which for reference, if you want to use the same length, it's 68 centimetres. Although I'd used a off-white kind of cream colour to sew the whole bag together to do the straps, because I was doing detailing to secure the straps, I've needed a matching thread. So I quickly swapped onto a navy thread and bobbin so that the stitching wouldn't be too visible. So I measured in from the side seams 8 centimetres. Again, feel free to use this, that's kind of just my preferred measurement. And I put a pin into the hem. I measured from each side, and then I put the webbing 8 centimetres in just below where I'd done the hem in the previous step. I folded the edge of the webbing underneath so that the raw edge was enclosed. So this was folded over by about a centimetre and a half. Then I made sure that the strap was completely smoothed out so there weren't any twists in it. And then I pinned it in the same place on the opposite side. So again, 8 centimetres in from the side seam. I used a couple of pins sideways in it to secure the strap into place, and then I attached the strap onto the back. And it was really important as I was pinning this in place and securing it to ensure that the straps were identical length, because it wouldn't feel very comfortable to wear it if one strap was longer than the other, and it would come open and the insides of the bag wouldn't be secure. So I'd recommend taking a couple of minutes over this to make sure that the straps are identical length. To secure the straps to the bag, I did a box X stitch, which, as you can probably imagine, is where you sew round in a box shape, so a rectangle. So this is the first stage. So you go around all 4 sides of where the webbing overlaps the bag. And then once you get back to the beginning, you then do an X shape from corner to corner. I normally do top corner. So from the two top corners, diagonally across the box to the bottom corners, and then reverse stitch. And this is a really strong, secure way to attach your straps to the bag. Once you have completed the box shape with the X through the middle, take it out from the machine, trim any loose threads and check that you are 100% happy with it. There's no tucks, it's all very secure. You'll repeat this stage so that where it's pinned in all four places, it'll be completely secure and you'll have two strong straps on your bag. So here is the completed bag. I'm really happy with how it looks. The calico has reinforced it. The hem looks super neat at the top. The straps look really professional. It's got that lovely slow fashion label inside. Just in this photo, just there, you can see the back of the box and the X's that I used to attach the straps. I managed to keep that screen printed in Japan selvage edge inside, which is really lovely, and I'm sure I'm going to use it tons. So this is a great idea as a gift to give to someone for a special occasion, or if you just want to create something really great for yourself.